That's why we are learning it many years. And after many years of training, when we got certification in this method, we still are taught that we are just the beginners and it needs many years more to really understand holotropic paradigm, if it's possible to really understand it fully. I don't know how it is in Finland, but in Poland, very often some random people who didn't experience real holotropic breathwork try to simplify it. They say like, this is just a hyperventilation, why you need to go for a workshop for this and pay, and why you need to learn how to lead holotropic breathwork, just hyperventilation. Even one of them was teaching how to do holotropic breathwork. He was sitting on the chair, on YouTube channel, he was sitting on the chair and said, that's how you do holotropic breathwork. And after 1 minute he said, oh, I'm so energized, it's very good practice. Yeah, you can do it now in your home, which is completely, of course, different than a real holotropic breathwork. So I don't know how is the Finnish scene about this, but what we want to always mention is that in holotropic breathwork, the word holotropic breathwork is more important, the word holotropic is more important than the word breathwork. Because we can imagine holotropic practice which is without the breathwork. Like some movement practices, some art practices. For example, my partner is leading trance movement workshops, maybe you can call it, before it was called trance dance. She's leading workshops, she's also leading, facilitating the training for trance movement facilitators. And there is not so, well, there is 2 minutes of breathwork at the beginning, but let's say this practice is not about breathwork, it's about movement and dancing. But I would still say that this practice is very holotropic in the essence of the practice, even if it doesn't contain breathwork. In the same time, we can imagine the breathwork workshop, which calls itself holotropic breathwork workshops, very often not because of bad intention, but because of lack of knowledge. And when we would go into this workshop, we would say, this is completely not holotropic. This is the opposite of holotropic. For example, we were 2 years ago, we were leading workshops in Georgia, near Tbilisi, and then some people, some participants told us that they had some things, some workshops, which was called holotropic, but when they start to describe how afraid now they are about the workshop, we realized it was not holotropic. Why? Then we will see the, let's say, the guidelines, and you will see which guidelines was broken. But one thing they did, the leading facilitator told them to do, was that everybody was breathing. So breathers were breathing with closed eyes, and sitter were breathing with open eyes. And this is not the worst part. But still, in my opinion, it's enough weird. Like how your sitter, who's supposed to take care of you and lead you to toilet and be watching you, why he's in process breathing. But this is not the worst part. The worst part was that they was told that if sitter feels something, it goes from let's say ancient wisdom, and he should do it. So it happened that male sitters, touched women breathers in a way which is not appropriate, and they say, but the infinite wisdom field told me to do it, so I didn't do anything wrong. Probably you were subconsciously asking about it. And it is not holotropic, to be clear. Even if you could go from outside and see, yeah, there are breathers, sitters, the breathers are reading, sitters are watching them, there's music, so it probably looks like holotropic breathwork, probably it's holotropic breathwork. Not at all, because it doesn't fit in this paradigm. Whenever you see something like this, you can be sure that this is not holotropic, and this person was not trained in holotropic breathwork. Probably he was, I don't know, watching some videos, reading some books, and he decided to do it, and then decided, like many other people, to improve it in his own way, but not having the understanding of holotropic paradigm made him that he did quite weird practice, which I don't have anything against weird practice itself, but I have something against practice which traumatized people. And this is the problem. In holotropic paradigm, it should never happen because the guidelines in the paradigm are a bit different. So that's why I want to talk about the paradigm itself, not so much about the breathing technique, because breathing technique can be explained in 1 or 2 minutes. It's very simple. Breathe deeper and faster. That's it. Maybe you can explain more that we don't invite you to breathe too fast and too deep, especially too fast, because we don't see a correlation between extremely fast breathing and better processes. Sometimes it's the opposite. If you breathe really fast, like it's very difficult to focus on your emotion, about your process, about your childhood, about your body. You just breathe. It's like with running. It's very often when you run with normal speed, you can think about all your life and you can have great ideas. But if you are doing sprints, you cannot think about anything. So the same here. This would be maybe the other explanation about breathwork, and the last one, maybe don't make a break between inhale and exhale. Just make it fluent, for example. And listen to your body. You can breathe through your mouth, your nose, both. But the explanation of the paradigm, it's a bit more complicated, and I want to talk a bit about this. Okay, we can go to the next slide.